welcome to Series 2 of the Coventry City Former Players Association podcast. What a tremendously exciting time for the club, sitting top of the championship with just 10 games to go. And as an association, we're enjoying our 20th year and recently organised our most successful Legends Day to date with 51 former players in attendance. Today, Billy Bell will be interviewing Dietmar Bruck, a member of our committee and former player between 1961 and 1970, when he made nearly 200 appearances for the club, taking us from Division 3 to Division 1 under Jimmy Hill. Thanks to the Midland Mixos for sponsoring today's podcast, and if you would like to sponsor future episodes, then please get in touch with us. A fascinating episode ahead, so without further ado, please welcome Billy Bell and the legend that is Dietmar Bruck.
Let's all sing together.
What? Oh, what a goal! Gus Harmer scores! The Sky Blues are sky high.
Well, good afternoon, Dietmar, and how are you? You keeping well?
I'm fine, yes. I've just had 3 lovely weeks in Barbados, which obviously kept me nice and warm. And yes, I feel absolutely first class.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. Dietmar, I want to start at the beginning of your life, your story when you were a little baby in Germany, and how... No, it's a fascinating story. You've told me this tale, but I think the viewers and the City fans especially would love to hear, because it is a remarkable story. Can you tell us all about how you ended up in Coventry?
Yeah, well, basically, I was born 19th of April 1944. I obviously gave my mother a hell of a time because it was touch and go whether she actually survived the birth. Consequently, my father, he was in the German army. He got a special occasion to actually get on the train and come back and be next to my mother and hoping everything was okay. Luckily, yeah, she survived, but my father didn't. He on his way back to Danzig, where I was born, the train that he was on blew up and he got killed. So consequently, I never got to know my father.
Yeah.
Then it was a matter of Danzig, Poland invading Danzig. So we got out of Danzig just in the nick of time, and we finished up in Berlin. And 12 months later, we finished in Osnabrück, North Germany. And during that period, my stepfather, he was in the RAF, and he was stationed in Osnabrück. And he met my mother, and apparently they fell in love, and they actually got married in Germany. And then when obviously the war was finished and obviously my father was out of the army, he then moved us to Coventry, and I was 4 years of age. So that's when I arrived in Coventry.
Wonderful. There was a little bit of a story. Your mum had to smuggle you from one area to another to avoid being held over. Do you remember that story you told me?
Oh, yes. It was quite unique, really. Yeah, in actual fact, she put me in the back, and obviously we managed to get through. And then when we got to Berlin, type of thing, yeah, literally I was smuggled through from Danzig, obviously with Poland, obviously recapturing Danzig, and luckily I arrived safely in Berlin.
It's amazing, great story. You know, people love to hear this story. Yeah. For your mum, you've got to admire that wonderful lady, because to come from a country that was at war with England, to marry an Englishman and come and live in Coventry, it couldn't have been easy for her in the first few years, or your good self.
That's right.
As a 4-year-old who probably only spoke German at the time, Dietmar.
Yes, yeah. I couldn't word of English. The same with my mother. She was the same. So obviously she had to learn English, and I managed to get a grip of it for about, 8 months. Because obviously at the age of 5, took us to an English school.
Yeah.
So consequently, the funny part about that really was when I did actually go to Christ the King school, and my mother, she obviously was so proud of me. I could have understood if I was born in Bavaria, but no, I was born in Danzig, Germany. She actually dressed me in a lovely white shirt and a tie and bloody leather hoses.
All you needed was a jug of beer.
So could you just imagine when I got introduced to the class dressed like that?
You got some stick outs.
Yes,
yeah.
I did, yeah.
The thing is, you came through all that. You went to
Yeah,
school at,
yeah.
what school did you go to? Bishop Ullathorne, was it? Or?
Well, Christ the King to start off
with.
And then the one good thing was I failed my 11 plus.
Okay.
When I say the good thing is because obviously my parents were quite upset. But had I obviously gone to grammar school, I would never play football.
It was all rugby in those days.
That's right.
Wasn't it?
So I went to Ullathorne.
Ullathorne, that was it, yes.
And obviously, by that time, when I was playing obviously school football with Christ the King, obviously I got spotted. Consequently, it just carried on from there, whereby I represented Coventry under 13s, 14s, and 15s. You know.
And then you moved on for your professional career. You signed when you were 17 years of age. And at the time, Dietmar, you were, I think, the youngest, with maybe Brian Hill might have another one, to play for the club at 17, one game the first season.
Well, I made 2 debuts. I made one with Billy Frith.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about Billy Frith. He was there before Jimmy Hill.
That's right, yes. I made my debut at the age of 16.
There you go.
And I always remember it against Swindon Town on a Friday night. And consequently, I wouldn't say that I was put in a bad performance, but I'd say just an average performance.
16-year-old is still.
That's right. But the big thing was on Saturdays, everybody used to go to the paper shop, get the pink. Do you remember
That's
the
right.
pink?
Oh, she did it myself.
That's it. So I went down to the paper shop. I got a hood on and everything. Sneakily bought the pink just to see what the actual report was about me, type of thing, you know. Anyway, consequently, I didn't go out on the Saturday night. So
I think we're joking apart to make your debut at that age and then move on. Billy Frith, etc. And then a very important man come into your life and all the people of Coventry. Of course, Mr. Jimmy Hill. What was it like the first day that Jimmy arrived and got you all together? What was your lasting impression, or first impression rather, of Jimmy?
Well, he was just amazing. And the one thing he emphasised was, I want to be called JH, Boss, Mr. Hill, or any other thing. You call me by JH at all times. So great speech, and then basically he actually had us having a practice match.
I don't know. I feel rude.
Yeah, straight away. So afterwards, when we finished playing there, and I went and knocked on his door and asked him, I said, "Excuse me," I said, "Mr. Hill," I says, "I've got a dentist appointment tomorrow. Is it okay?" So he says, "Pardon?" I says, I've got this hospital appointment. So he says, "Were you actually in the meeting?" So I said, "Yes." He says, "You didn't understand it or what?" So I says, "Well, yes." So what were you supposed to call me? And I went, "Oh, sorry, JH." That's it. You're learning quick. Well done. Anyway, it turned out to be very fantastic because obviously then in the A team, and then we went down to Portsmouth. And Jimmy Hill, obviously, he'd met his Heather, future wife, and he watched the actual game against Portsmouth. And I have to say, it was just one of them occasions. I mean, I had a blind end.
Good lad.
Nothing could go wrong for me. And when we got back, the worst part about it was on the way back, we had a breakdown in the coach, and we finished up sleeping on the M1 in the service station until we got dragged and got back. We got back to Highfield Road at 6 o'clock in the morning. So again, we had to come back in the afternoon for another practice match. But on the Friday, he called me in, and he obviously praised me. He said he was quite impressed. So he was going to put me into the first team squad.
Very good.
So explain how that worked. So, and then on the following Saturday, I made my second debut, played against Watford, down at Watford, and we actually won 1-0.
Well, that's right. I remember that team that he put together with Willie Humphreys, my friend in Ireland.
That's right.
Being his very first signing.
That's it.
And all the lads he brought in. But the mainstay of the team, it's got to be said, was George Curtis, the captain, leader, etc., etc. George deserves every bit of praise. But Jimmy guided. You were one of the few players who went from the third, second, at the time, first division,
right.
now the Premiership.
That's right.
Went all the way through. What was that like, being a Coventry kid, playing for your club and winning all those wonderful leagues?
Oh, it's just unbelievable. It's like a fairy tale. It's just unbelievable. The thing about Jimmy was that he was honest. He was obviously made sure that we basically played football. What he actually achieved at the club, and you just can't believe what actually happened. So we got promotion from the third to the first. Dave Robbins, the chairman, he obviously looked after us, and off we toddled off to Spain one year when we got promotion. Then the second time, how I got to fall in love with Barbados. He took us to Barbados, where Derek always used to stop at the Coral Reef Club. So basically, we stopped there. We stopped there for 3 weeks. We went to Barbados, Trinidad, St. Lucia, and then we finished off in Bermuda.
And did you play fixtures there when you were there?
Yes, yeah. When we played in Barbados, we played, I think, against United.
And United, yeah.
Yeah, and the national side, Bridgetown on the cricket ground.
Oh,
Bridgetown. And then we were really, really looked after. We made a big impression in Barbados, and to such an extent that when we went back the following year, that time we got promoted, we actually, when we arrived, there was about 2,000 people there.
Waiting for you at the airport.
Yeah, we thought, hang on, is some star coming?
And it was you.
Was it the Beatles? The guy said, no, it's you, like, you made such an impression. Well, I'm not exaggerating. We got through customs, and then all of a sudden, all the people that we've got friends with, they all kind of come around and hugging us and one thing or another. And obviously the coach. So the coach side was putting all our luggage in there. And then we all toddled off and all the way around Barbados, and we at different places. And the coach went to the hotel with all the cases, and they just plonked them there. So when we eventually got back to the hotel, I think it was about 2:00 in the morning, first thing we had to do was basically check in and get our baggage, and then obviously get into our rooms.
Amazing.
It was
very, let's be honest, typical Jimmy Hill, revolutionary to take a team of you all the way there. Probably hadn't happened ever before to a Coventry team.
I know.
Probably furthest to went was Skating.
That's right.
So moving on from there, all the success you had, the players you played with, that Jimmy brought in, and I'd like you to talk about just a few specifically that I think sort of ran through that team. One of them was Bill Glazier. What was your opinion when Bill first joined us?
Well, Bill was a record signing.
It was for a goalkeeper.
I think it was 35 grand or so.
At the time, world record, actually.
Well, yeah. He was exceptional. He really was a top-class goalkeeper. He was hard, and he wasn't afraid to come out. And to be quite honest with you, and on occasion, cross balls, he'd even come out as far as the penalty spot and get on, grab.
Amazing.
He was an unbelievable goalkeeper. He really was.
Moving on, I think a very unsung hero, but actually a hero of mine. I just love the guy. Was the late Ronnie Farmer. He was so, every time I went to see City play in my early days in Coventry, Ronnie was just a really great, what I would call like a workhorse, nobody stilts type of player. But what was your remembrance things of Ronnie Farmer?
Well, again, Ronnie, I mean, he was an experienced player, and consequently, I mean, he was a good player. But what really, really impressed me is he used to kind of help the youngsters, and he took a bit of a liking to me. I don't know why, but the amount of help that he always gave me and advice, and even after training, say, "Dick, come here." She said, so we'd have a little practice session for one against one, for about 15, 20 minutes. To me, was extra special because it really sunk in, and you thought, well, he's going to be a great coach.
He ended up. He did. He had a great.
That's right. Yeah.
7 of his youth team, went through to the first team, which everybody's on about Alex Ferguson and all that. Yeah. Ron Farmer did that years ago.
That's right. Yeah.
With all the players that came through under Gordon Mill and Noel Cantwell, etc. Yeah. The other one that springs to mind when you were playing is, I've got to mention Mick Kearns, because Mick Kearns, George Curtis, and yourself all were granted testimonials the same season.
That's right.
And Mick Kearns, I love Mick Kearns, as you know, he's just a lovely, lovely man.
Good guy.
And he was, again, Mick was an underrated player. I think sometimes in Coventry we underrate our own homegrown players.
No, it's quite true.
To me, was steady Eddie halfback.
That's right.
And like yourself, he moved to fullback.
That's right. But you see, story with Mick and George, they were both, one was in the army and one was in the RAF.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And they were
National Service. Yeah.
and they were based at Gaydon.
Gaydon. Yeah.
Gaydon, yeah. So consequently, obviously them being pros, they could only come on a Tuesday night and Tuesday and Thursday night. So I got to know the two of them when I was 13 years of age.
That's right, yeah, because they were a bit older than
That's
you.
right. So obviously being on schoolboy forms, so I got to obviously know them so well. So consequently, when I basically signed as an apprentice, right, I got to know him inside out, and this is when George really got a grip of me. Any time that I kind of misbehaved, he'd just get hold of me ear and just kind of drag. They use that type of play.
He did it for Dave Bennett for donkeys. He took it forward. Yeah, I mean, that was a hell of a side moving forward.
Yeah.
And the crowds at Highfield Road, when Jimmy first came, there were 5,000 or 6,000. Ended up, when we played Wolves to get the final promotion, the gates vary between 40,000 and 55,000. God knows, but we've seen the photographs. What was that night like?
It was just unbelievable. I mean, when you talk about health and safety, I mean, we talk in terms of when we came out of the tunnel, 54,000. We obviously got promotion. It was a toss-up between us and Wolves.
That's right.
For the championship.
That's right.
So 54,000, you got the track round the end of the pitch. That was jam-packed with kiddies.
Passed down
got people
over the crowd.
halfway up the floodlights.
Yeah.
They were all over the place.
I know.
You know what I mean? And consequently, I mean, it was a fantastic game. Basically, we won them down at half time. Knowles has scored the goal. He was a great striker. He was.
Peter Knowles, I remember him, yeah.
But then obviously, Ronnie Rees, who was another great player. He was an apprentice with me. He's some character he was. And he actually just kind of went on his runs. And basically, we finished up winning 3-1. But it was frightening because everybody just...
On the pitch afterwards.
On the pitch afterwards.
It was.
So we managed to basically get in the tunnel. Nobody was hurt or anything like that. And then we finished up in the stands.
And Jimmy sang the Sky Blue
That's
song
right.
to the fans.
And that was an unbelievable experience.
Was that your only medal, the 3 medals? Because we were runners-up in the league, the other 2, but we won that one, didn't we? Because Bill Glazier
We got a
still showed me.
championship. Yes,
Yeah, Bill
yeah.
Glazier said to me, Billy, he showed me his medal.
That's it, yeah.
That's my only award in
That's it, yeah.
20-odd years of football.
That's-
It's incredible,
yeah,
really.
yeah.
But it must be very precious to you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I even got a combination medal, playing the reserve.
You won that league as well?
That's right, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. But that 10 years under Jimmy Hill was just unbelievable. But one person that I would really kind of like to mention also is your good friend, Willie Humphries. Because when Jimmy came, do you know he actually brought a full forward line?
He did.
There was like Willie, Hubert Barr, that we
From
both,
Norwich.
Terry Bly,
From Norwich.
Jimmy Whitehouse,
Yeah.
from I think it was from Reading.
Reading.
And then Bobby Laverick from Everton. And Bobby Laverick lasted 8 months. It was a terrible buy, to be honest with you. And that's when Ronnie came into the equation.
right.
I think we played, he played Shrewsbury on it. It was a night game. So Ronnie was making his debut. Well, I'm not exaggerating. Ronnie, he just...
Ran the game.
He was absolutely brilliant. I mean, for an 18-year-old, same as me,
Yeah.
I tell you what, his pace and his... And we finished up winning 8-1 against Shrewsbury that night. And, obviously he made it straight away. It was...
So we made the Promised Land, the first
Yeah.
division at the time. Crowds were up.
Yeah.
Mr. Robbins, fair play to him, built new stands, improved the ground,
yeah.
etc., etc. What was it like your first year playing against the Cream?
Well, our first game was against Hull at home,
Okay.
right? And I don't know why or how or why I did it, but I actually decided to have a shot just inside their own half, an actual shot. Okay, being a novice and a youngster. Do you know what? And I scored.
Well done, that man.
I'm not exaggerating.
Well
This is
done.
the honest truth. The actual ball bounced a couple of times. The keeper went to dive on it and he missed it. He went in the back of the net. And then I'm just standing there, what's going on here? And we won 1-0. So I actually got in the first division debut a goal.
Debut. we struggled a bit in the first division, as all teams do. But at the time, the great shake-up was sadly Jimmy deciding to go into television. But they brought in Mr. Noel Cantwell, who everyone I speak to, the older players who meet regularly, always sings Noel's praises, that he was a good follow-on from Jimmy. Hard to follow in that man's shoes, but he did a great job.
Well, I've got different. To be honest with you, I was a bit disappointed with Noel because I think one of his problems was because of the success that we had, he was basically going to struggle in one sense because he was really getting fed up with Jimmy Hill this and Jimmy Hill that, one thing or another. And this is one of the main reasons why all the Jimmy Hill players, you met George, myself, we basically he sold us all off. And, George went to the Villa, I went to Charlton. I don't want to sell you, Deep, but I've had an offer for you, blah, blah, blah. Go down and see him and see what happens. But I don't want to sell you, Okay, fine. So obviously, eventually I signed. But during that period of time, there was different opinions regarding the way he obviously managed things. And the biggest example was obviously when we played United. I mean, as a player, I got great admiration. He was an unbelievable player.
Who was? George Best?
No,
yes. Good steady Eddie fullback,
But he got his lovely left foot of his, So as a player, he was basically top class. But we actually, obviously, to be honest with you, we got into the Fair Cities Cup.
That's right. Europe. Played in Europe for the first time,
and we played over in Bulgaria.
Plovdiv.
That's it, yeah. And we won. We actually won 4-1 away from home.
That's amazing.
That's it, yeah. But unfortunately, Noel, he was that exciting, one thing or the other, and then we had to carry him onto the coast to get back onto the airport. He was celebrating that much.
Oh, terrible! I would never do that.
That's right. So, and then when we played at home, we beat them 2-0. And the thing that upset me a little bit was that we were basically drawn against Bayern Munich. I thought,
remember that.
Born in Germany, one thing or another. But unfortunately, I got sold to Charlton Athletic. But I did go up and watch the actual game.
Good on you.
And they really played well that night. So.
It was quite funny, Dietmar. I was looking through this. And you're one of 3 Coventry City players who were actually born in Germany. Do you know the other 2?
One was, did he play for Man City?
Yes, he played in the cup final.
The cup final, yeah.
David Phillips.
There was Dietmar Henn.
No. Coventry City I'm on about.
Oh, Coventry. Oh,
there was 2 other players. One was David Phillips.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yes, the serviceman.
That's right, yes.
And Wilf Smith, who actually came in and played it for a while, which is strange because it wasn't because like your good self was the war. It was because their dads were serving in Germany.
That's right.
Yes, so you're one of 3 German players that played for Coventry.
We also had Kletzenbauer.
Oh, Frank,
Frank Kletzenbauer.
Another good old name.
That's right.
So, moving on, Dietmar, from Charlton Athletic, you had a couple of good years down there, back to Northampton.
Yeah.
And then you actually went into management at Weymouth, didn't you?
That's right. Yes.
How did that change come about, or were you doing coaching at Northampton?
Yeah, well, I took my my full badge, and during that time, great experience. I spent 2 weeks with Jeff Hurst
at Lillishall.
At Lillishall. Yeah, well, I'm not exaggerating. The camaraderie between the 2 of us. So consequently, we both qualified as FA coaches, and then I was lucky to be one of the group of coaches. For the under-18s.
England,
yeah.
That's true.
And, we actually got to the final, but we got beat. We were due to play at Tottenham, but then because of the rain and everything, it was called off. We actually played at Watford.
I wrote the game was played at Watford.
That's right, yeah. So after that, I had 1 season with the Eton Borough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that was an enjoyable experience. But then I got contacted to go and have an interview down at Weymouth as manager. And I got appointed manager of Weymouth.
And you made a very famous signing in England, centre forward of West Bromwich.
The first person that I went for was Jeff Astle.
That's correct.
Jeff Astle was, the manager was Terry Fry, sorry. He's still at Peterborough after all these years. Barry Fry.
That's it.
He's still actually involved with Peterborough. I mean, great guy, what a con man he was, but he was a character. So we actually did a deal. So it was what, £5,000, but you know. So I had to basically say to Terry that it's got to be cash. So when obviously it was agreed, so Jeffrey they obviously come down to see me. The deal was done. So Barry says, well, I'll send my good friend come down to Weymouth and obviously get it all set up. You know. So I met him at the station and coming in and I took him into the office. I said to his secretary, interruptions, I just need to get this sorted out. Not a problem at all. And he's in this brown briefcase type of thing. Anyway, we did the deal. And then straight away I said, excuse me. I said, I need to find the chairman. I rang the chairman and I said to him, I said, yeah, it's all done, Mr. Curtis. We've got him, blah, blah, blah. And he's actually over the moon. The breakaway, I think he was about 25 miles away. So he come straight to the ground type of thing and got introduced to him. And our first game was the start of the season against the Neaton Borough.
Wow, pre-season friendly.
Yeah, and we were 1-0 down with 10 minutes to go, and I was player manager then. So consequently, but obviously running down the line, so I hit a ball into the 18-yard box. Now there was Big Jeff, bang, right top corner. So we got a draw 1-1. You know, absolutely
I think
brilliant.
the reason I brought that up because Weymouth at the time, well, still are a non-league team. So that to get him to come to you was amazing. Now, Dietmar, just before we go on, this is so fascinating.
Yeah.
We're going to have a short break and we're going to speak to our sponsors and let you know what's happening. But Dietmar Bruck, we're just going to have a little break. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
The Midland Mixos are the Midland's #1 supplier for mobile wedding bars, cocktail masterclasses and fun casino tables. Coventry City fan ready to serve you. Look them up at www.midlandmixos.com. They bring the party to you.
Welcome back to part 2 with the interview with young Dietmar Bruck.
Thank you.
Great to see you, Diet. You were just finishing up, but you were manager of Weymouth, then you did Redditch United as manager, and then you went out of football and you had another life outside football with an insurance company, and then finally the community officer with the new Tesco.
Right.
And you saw another side of life, but did football give you that confidence and inspiration to try a new way of life?
Well, I had no option really. I mean, once I had basically finished, but when Tesco's basically came on the scene, was obviously the new stadium was being built.
Right. 20 years.
That's right. And the big complex, the shopping complex was being developed. And they were basically advertising for people to work for Tesco's, the court halls, which obviously no longer exist. So I decided, I got suited and booted. In those days or anything, just have a look and see what it's all about, because I haven't got a clue about shopping, this and the other. Anyway, as it happens, 2 of the young managers obviously were going to be working at Tesco's, and they basically recognised me, and so they came up and had a word with me, one thing and another. And they said that, what are you doing now? So I says, well, I'm not doing anything really. So why are you here? I says, well, I was just curious to see what it was all about. You know, just have a wander around. So he says, well, listen, you would be an ideal guy for Tesco's, as obviously, you know, character, and you're well known in Coventry. You know. He says, so, take this form, fill it in, and basically then send it in, and then we'll have a look at it, and then, we'll probably get back to you and interview you. And as it turned out, I had got this form, and so I filled it all in. It was multiple questions, you know, the 4, and you had to answer tick the 2 correct ones. So there I went, doing this, bum, 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 bum. And I sent it off and one thing and another. And of course, the next thing I got a phone call to say I'd gone for the interview. Okay. So I had the interview, and it seemed to go reasonably well. And then basically, you basically, we want to employ you. So then I went to, obviously, to tell me what was going to be. So what kind of position would you like to be? So I said, well, to be honest, I ain't got a clue. I ain't done any there. So he says, well, so what we do, we'll put you in the garage. So I says, in the garage? What, you mean I've got to put the... He says, no. You work in the garage. And then obviously on the the doors and stuff.
Yeah.
So I says, fair enough. Well, then they started giving me a bit more control and one thing and another. And so, then I was the forecourt, checking all the forecourt down there. And then about 10 months on, they were introducing community champion.
Which was you.
That's right. So I was called to the office to the manager, mentioned to me that the community champion, we want you, I'm going to employ you as community champion. So I turned around and I says, can I think about it? So he said to me, he says, well, you can think about it, but the answer is if you don't take that job, you're sacked. And I looked at it and I said, okay, yeah,
When do we start?
Then I became a community champion and it just snowballed. I mean, it got to a stage where when we started getting involved with the schools.
I was with you because I saw the work you did with charities and kids. I'm with the Former Players Association. And it was great for us, because you helped us get involved with Tesco.
But we always used to basically get involved with the schools and one thing or another. And then I also had what you call a coaching session because I was a qualified FA coach. And I couldn't believe it. The boss actually cordoned off 2 days a week in the morning, half of the car park, right?
The kids to have a kick about.
Yeah, so they get the schools coming in and they're obviously doing the coaching sessions. But then when we had the community champion where we got to the schools in, and part of my job was the school kiddies, and we would take them to 3 different parts of the store, and then we'd take them behind the scenes and one thing or another. And I always introduced them in myself. And it says, my name is Dietmar Bruck. Obviously, you young people, Dietmar Bruck is a bit difficult to pronounce. So don't worry about it. Just call me, you know me as Mr. Tesco. So it just got all this, I mean, I literally had all the schools. I've got them all in 12 months. But in the times when I was obviously on duty and then I was going down to customer services and the kiddies had come off school and the mums and dads would come into Tesco to do the shopping. And you all of a sudden you say, Mum, there's Mr. Tesco. Tesco.
So there's no truth in the rumour you had the kids collecting the trolleys. Because he used to hide them. Thank you so much. I appreciate the work you did with Tesco and the link that you got with us to the stage where at one, before it became a private car park, our former players could park in the Tesco car park.
That's right.
We give them all a little sticker. Right. I've got a few questions from some fans.
Yes.
The first one is from Paul.
Yeah.
And it's on your playing pitches today compared to what you played on Dietmar. My goodness.
There's no
I'm the same. Well, a bit younger than you, but I know what you're going to answer that. Isn't it amazing that how pitches have progressed, Dietmar?
No comparison. Do you know what? If we'd had pitches like in my day, I'd have been an international and playing for Germany.
Dietmar, you haven't taken your tablets.
No, I mean,
no, but it's wonderful. The surfaces they play are incredible. Highfield Road, even when I came in 1970, the pitch was never 100% good, was it? Let's be honest.
Our pitch, I mean, we got a slope and everything on it.
That's right.
And I mean, when we played United in the FA Cup, you come onto the pitch and suddenly your feet just disappeared in the mud. It was absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Would you watch the lads run out at the CBS now? And you must go, you lucky devils, to be playing on a surface like that.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, it's like playing on the carpet. I mean, in our day, like, you know, you see a ball bounce, it wouldn't bounce at all. You see it now. I mean, and how ball rolls and this. No, it's no comparison.
I think memory serves me right at the end of the season at Highfield Road, when the summer, when we did get good summers, at the end of the season, the ruts in the pitch were just as dangerous as the ice and frost, weren't they, Dietmar?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Because I've seen some horrible injuries up there at the end of the season. Moving on from that question, from Highfield Road to the CBS, you're probably going to say Highfield Road, I'm not protecting, but what's your opinion of both stadiums?
Well, There's got to be. I mean, the stadium that Coventry City are playing in now, that stadium is just unbelievable.
It's amazing. Isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, everything about it, you know, the stadium, the pitch, the facilities and everything. It's just, yeah, it's there's no comparison to Highfield
And
Road.
I think people do now get it, that we're getting 30,000, 20. We never really got those big crowds at Highfield Road when I was a fan, a supporter, when I wasn't playing myself. The noise they make nowadays is just incredible, isn't it?
Do you know, sometimes, obviously, I'm sitting in the stand and I get goose pimples. The atmosphere is just unbelievable. And it's just great to see. Isn't
But
it?
you've been through success, and
Oh,
now we're
Christ,
seeing
yes,
success
that's
again.
right, that's
So it
it,
must be
yeah.
wonderful for you to say, this is great.
It's
Come
great,
on,
yeah.
lads.
Yeah, but I mean, it's threefold now, the atmosphere than it was in my day.
Yeah.
And like the town of Coventry, I mean, and the supporters, they're just unbelievable.
Well, I sit with Dietmar sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, and believe me, he's 80-odd, but he still kicks every ball. Anyway, moving on now. Question from Mark Morrison.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a controversial one. Who did you support in the 1966 World Cup final, Germany or England?
Well, this is a truthful story. Unfortunately, I had to kind of support Germany pure and simply because my grandfather came over from Germany to stop us with us, and that happened to be the World Cup. And obviously, with the granddad being German, we were watching the game, and obviously, in between the game, obviously, my dad and my granddad was obviously having a few beers and one thing and another. So I got no choice really. But deep down, it's got to be obviously England.
Did you get a chance to go to any of the games, Dietmar?
No.
Because there wasn't many played in them. Some of them
that's
Park,
it,
I believe.
That's
but,
right. Yeah.
but that was going to say that's a
deep
strange
down,
one.
it was obviously England, but you know, on that particular occasion, a bit false type of thing, and it was like Germany. I mean, I wanted to run up and down the garden, shout, "Wee!" But I just hadn't type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that story, because you do return quite frequently to Germany for the Rhine cruises and holiday over in Germany. Then
That's right.
You've met
Yeah,
relations and that over there.
that's right.
And when the first couple of times you did it, you told me you felt a little bit shy in that, but now you love meeting your relatives and friends in Germany. It's
Oh,
great,
that's
isn't it?
nice. Yes, yeah. I mean, we always just go the right Christmas time. We'll go with our short trip,
That's
you know,
right,
5
yeah.
days.
Harry Shaw.
They're down the Rhine. Oh, it's
10 days, 14
that's
nights.
it, yeah. I mean, they've got the sky blue shirt. Wagner's got the sky blue shirt. My shorts. I think he's even got me lederhosen, and I'll give him back.
And the former player's tie. You've taken.
Yes.
But isn't that great that after all these years as a kid, basically escaping from the country to go back and be made welcome?
Yeah,
It's amazing.
But it was a lovely, you know, Christmas and celebrating New Year in Germany. I mean, obviously, it's really first class here as well.
Yeah.
They're over there with it. I'm not kidding you. You thought it was World War III and the ball of fireworks and one thing and another. It wasn't.
We're drinking there, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't just like, you know, like about 10, 15, 20 minutes, this, that, and the other. You're talking about 2 or 3 hours.
Oh,
I'm not exaggerating.
yeah.
It's
I've never been.
unbelievable.
I'm going to treat myself to go on that Rhine cruise. You recommended to me.
Most
You'd
definitely.
absolutely love it,
I'm actually going to treating my partner for her birthday. We're going on a cruise with, you know, the big long ships.
That's
cruise.
what I said.
Yeah,
up
down the
Rhine.
Rhine. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Here's a daft one from Jed Clark. What's your favourite crisps? What flavour?
You won't believe this.
Go on.
It's puffs.
Excuse me.
They're these new things. They're like
Oh.
they're like little sausages, but like crispy type of thing.
Are they?
It's called
Crispy
puffs.
type of things. That's
Yeah,
what a crisp is.
that's a
They make some walkers.
puffs, yeah.
Puffs,
They're a
oh,
bit softer than the crisps. So I've gone into the
Don't
puffs
say
now.
no more. Anyway,
But apart from that,
I
yeah,
don't know if
the-
we're politically correct here, but we're talking about crisps.
But Chris, I mean, they're all in it. It's cheese.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
cheese and onion.
Cheesy puffs. I
Yeah,
know what you mean.
Cheesy puffs.
Right, moving on, moving up to.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. To be daft. The lovely thing about the former Players Association, and I've got to say to everybody that Deet's an important member of the committee, and he comes down from Manchester, which he's done today, because we've got Legends Day coming up, hopefully in a few weeks' time. It'll be announced next week, fingers crossed, by the club. What's your take on how we started? And it's our 20th year, Dietmar. Would you believe that? This is 20 years of the Coventry City former players. When that first started, you were a big supporter, one of the first ones to join us. What's it meant to you as a former player to see what this committee and the former players have done for you and the former players?
So much, just so much. It's been just unbelievable. And how, Former Players Association has grown and what we basically do is just unbelievable. And the hours that you all spend working and sorting things out and arranging and going to charities and one thing another, it's just absolute excellent and first class. That's all I can say. And I'm very, very fortunate that I was asked to join the committee, and I absolutely love it.
That's brilliant.
I'm so proud to be so proud.
I think what me personally think is that we brought a lot of people that they weren't ostracized. That's the wrong word, but they were never invited back. Were they? When your career was over in those days, that's it. Your history, basically.
That's right. Yes.
But we've got people like Legends Day. You'll be meeting with probably Jeff Blockley, Chris Catlin, if he's back from Barbados, all players that you played with. That must be a hell of a buzz, sitting telling stories and having the crack.
That's right.
Your old mates.
It's also great to see how we all suddenly get so bloody old,
I don't know what you're on about.
I'm quite lucky because, I've got nice bob of hair. We've got quite a few, they've certainly gone, aye. He's losing a bit of hair type of thing. But yeah, it's and then also to meet up at the games and talk about, what we're all, the things that we're doing.
And I think, again, with me, camaraderie and that, and more importantly for the club who love it, and most important is the fans. It must be a great for you at 81 to walk down into the casino and can have your photograph, can have your autograph.
That's right.
And you think people have forgotten me, but they haven't.
No, it's unbelievable. I never, ever refuse, and I feel quite honoured that, hey, blimey, you still recognise me.
Exactly.
Can I have your autograph? Hey, sometimes you've got 3 or 4 books when you're going. I will make sure that I sign every one of them pictures that they ask me for, because it's a privilege, after all these years, that they still got pictures of it, type of thing,
Well, it's our 20th anniversary coming up, ladies and gentlemen, for our Legends Day. Fingers crossed we'll get a great turnout of players. I think it's been a joy talking to you, Dietmar. We're now going to have a committee meeting after this podcast finished to discuss Legends Day and who we've got coming, etc. I just want you to finish, Dietmar. Again, first of all, your greatest memory playing for Coventry City, and secondly, your greatest memory in life. Go on then.
Becoming professional football and signing for Coventry City Football Club, and the 10 years that I had with them, with the success that we had, is just unbelievable. And I am so grateful for the opportunity to have done that. And being a little sorry about this is when I met my wife, Maureen, and we got married, and unfortunately I lost in 1990 through leukemia. That was the one thing in life that really, really touched me, and it still does.
The memory's still strong. I can tell that, Dietmar. Moving on, just to finish on a high point, what's your thoughts on Frank and the boys? Can we do it?
Yes.
That's exactly the answer I wanted, and you don't have to say any more.
No, providing they don't do what they did.
Leave it. We're going on the high note. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much. Dietmar Bruck, thank you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that, the opportunity to get interviewed. So thank you.